This is Amber Osei, and today we are doing a special podcast about Women's History Month for the Today's Air Defender podcast here at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And our special guest today is CW5 Chief Babers, and she is joining us from Sumter, South Carolina. How you doing, Chief?
I'm doing good, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me to the show. I am honored to be the guest speaker for today.
Awesome. Okay, well, there's a couple questions that I want to ask you and just have a kind of conversation about with you about some stuff. First of all, congratulations on being a CW5 in the United States Army.
Thank you.
I know that's a privilege and an honor, and not many people get to that position in their career. Whether they're female or male or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's still a hard position to achieve. And so I just want to congratulate you on that. And just kind of ask you some questions about it. What does it feel like to reach that rank? And to be a woman to do so, and also the first woman in air defense to ever do it.
Well, ma'am, I think that I am definitely honored to be the first CW5 air defender in the branch. I can tell you, when I was a young W1, I never thought that I would be the first CW5 in the branch. There were so many other females that came along long before me, and I would often go to a couple of them for advice, when I had those roadblocks in my career. And if I'm being honest, I got some of the best advice from the other females that were in the branch long before I came through.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of advice did they give you?
So one of the things I think I struggled with a little bit more was in the first unit I got into was I was the only female. So, and I just would go to them, just ask them like general questions about, how do I make this work? And is it okay to ask for the help that, you need sometime, and to lean on some of the other warrant officers in the branch? And,
Mm-hmm.
it worked out really good. So, because they gave me guidance on, if you don't feel comfortable, maybe look at this versus that,
Yeah. And whenever you went to get into your specialty,
Yes.
what is it that you're the SME on?
So when I first joined the Warrant Officer Corps, I was what we call a 140 Echo, which was both, air defense maintenance and air defense tactics. So over the years, we kind of split the MOS to have a maintenance MOS and as well as a tactical MOS. So I am now a 140 Kilo, which is a tactical MOS. So
Okay.
I do a lot of the, the inside, air defense, like the big stuff, the engagements, versus just going out, doing maintenance on a radar.
So they have you at Sumter's now. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing there and what your position's like there?
So yes, I'm actually in 32nd AAMDC, but I am the liaison officer here in Shaw, and I kind of support the 32nd on a lot of the efforts that they deal with AARCENT, as far as like making sure we have what we need in terms of moving, units in and out of the AOR, just anything big that the unit needs, me to push. I'm here to do that job for them and to make sure we have a voice in some of the fights.
Okay. So are you currently a part of are you doing any type of mentorship or anything for maybe young females out there in the air defense that are trying to come up?
So I have been actually looking for a couple of females to come along. Fortunately, most of the people that approach me are male soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
but I am definitely sending a shout out for the females. If you're looking to become a air defense warrant officer, I am definitely here. Feel free to reach out anytime you want.
Okay, awesome. And so what does it, being African American as well, what does it mean to you to be in your position, being an African American and being a female, just for Women's History Month?
So it's definitely an honor to be in the military, period, I actually think about like some of the females who came along long before I came around, to just to pave the way for me to even have a choice in what MOS I want to choose. I think that when I was a young soldier, I remember the time when my first sergeant had a tasker, and it was in a shore-ready air defense unit, and they was doing a live fire, and the tasker required like two soldiers. It didn't specify gender; it just says two soldiers. So I got selected to go to this tasker. When I got to the tasker, the requirement was for two male soldiers, but they didn't outline that in the tasker when it first came down. So they asked that I call my change of command and say, hey, I need to be swapped out with a male soldier. Well, my first son came back online and he said, I don't have another soldier, so it's either at the time PFC Bell or no one. You'll have that one soldier. So I went out, and I did the best job I can. But now, and when I look at that same MOS today, there are a number of females in that MOS, and it just brings a smile to my heart, because it just tells me that, we as females, we can do anything we put our mind to.
I do agree. And I think afforded the opportunities, there's a lot of people who want to take advantage of, and a lot of females and people maybe who couldn't want to take advantage of those opportunities. And I'm glad that you did. Do you have anything, specific that just women's history in general means to you, and like maybe something in your family or any ties that you have with anyone else in the military?
So in my family, I remember my mom, always would tell me she worked in a job that was male dominant. And, she was a welder. And I mean, little females are in the job, and I'm sure there's more now. At the time when she crossed into that field, there were no females. She was the only female on the floor in at least in the area she worked in. And I remember her saying how difficult and how challenging it was. But now that I think about it, I said, well, maybe you paved the way with, you speaking up at the time, maybe paved the way for some other females to feel comfortable working in that environment now, because now she tells me there's a number of females that's in that, in the welding field,
Yeah, I feel like, as far as the glass ceilings go, there has been a big change, just within the last 10 years, especially for the military. And I do think it's great that everyone is kind of afforded the opportunity to do the job that they want to do and, that they set out to do. And there's really nothing there stopping them from doing that. So what would you say to maybe some females that are thinking that air defense might not be for them? What would you say to them?
First, I would tell them, to have confidence, in their ability to do this job. It's not hard, you just have to do your part, And then I would say, you should have the opportunity to attempt anything you want to try. And I would actually tell them, I know, sometimes the job may have some physical limitations, but don't let the restraints, that others put on you stop you from doing it, And that the only obstacle in your way is yourself.
That's good. That's good advice.
So I think that if I had to add anything, and I kind of understand why a lot of females, may choose not to come into the branch or as a warrant officer. They are in the branch, but they may be a little hesitant about coming into the branch. I would say that, I understand that we all have kids, and, we all been down that path before, what I found that worked for me, and I don't think I got it figured out, the family life versus work life. And I know it's long hours, but I would tell them, hey, lean on the other females in your units, because, although you may not have a plan, you can lean on each other, because, I think that's what I did along the way with my daughter. I had other female warrants, and we all had kids, and we would just, kind of see who didn't have to go to the field this week versus who had to be out in the field. And we would just, talk to each other and say, hey, can you watch our kids? Because we kind of trusted each other enough to know that we had each other backs when it came to kids. Couldn't, and it helped me through my career. And I know that if you lean on the others, we got your back.
Was there a time that you had to be, deployed overseas and be away from your daughter?
I have been deployed, I want to say about 80% of her life. But I could tell you this, technology has came a long way. We have FaceTime, when she got ready to go to dances and stuff, she would FaceTime me, hey, Mom, what does this dress look like? Would you think this is appropriate for the event I'm going to? So although I wasn't physically there, I still was able to be a part of her life through Facebook, FaceTime and all these apps.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. How old's your daughter now?
She's 23 years old.
Oh, she's grown up.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
that's
God.
great. Well, that's great. You sound like you're a great mom. Did you have any other people in your family that served in the military?
So I had my father. He did 4 years in the military, and I guess he figured it wasn't for him.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle who did 25 years of Army Reserve time. But as far as making a career out of it, I think I actually hold that title for the family.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it. Where are you originally from?
I'm from Tuskegee, Alabama.
Okay, that's cool. So, as long as you've been in now, what are all the different places that you've gotten to go to and see?
So I have been in the deployed areas. I have been to every location Patriot can go. And state, I've been to Germany. I did 2 tours in Germany. I did a tour in Korea. And then, of course, I spent my time at Fort Bliss, Texas, Fort Bragg. I, didn't have the honor of going to Fort Sill, but I did training at Fort Sill. So I wasn't never stationed there, but I did training there. I served some time at Fort Hood, Texas.
Awesome. So which one was your favorite?
I would have to say that I enjoyed being at Fort Bragg as well as Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay. Any reason why?
So, when sometime I realized, I had to realize that when you make the move for PCS moves, I had to take family in consideration.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when my husband retired, he actually enjoyed Fort Hood. So he's a boating guy, so he would like to go out on the lake, and he just enjoyed just the environment at Fort Hood. So, and over the years, it became my favorite as well. Fort Bragg, I've been here. I've been there for a minute or two, and it's just one of those stations that kind of grew on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's located actually pretty well. I can get to Atlanta or wherever I need to go on a 4-day weekend if I needed to go, and it's 7 hours from home. As my mother get older, I know that I can get there in a decent amount of hours.
There you go. Awesome. I know a lot of people, they say it's overseas, but that makes sense if you were trying to be close to family as well. I think we covered all of the questions. If there's anything else that you think we need to kind of discuss.
Well, I think we hit everything. I just want to say to all the females that are serving their country, I'm absolutely proud of you. It takes a lot to, try to balance your life with family and kids and spouses. And, sometimes it works for you and sometimes it don't. But I can tell you from CW5 Babers, I am absolutely proud of each of you females that are serving in the formations out there.
And there you go. Again, this is Amber Osei with today's Air Defender, and that concludes our 5th podcast that we have from here at Fort Sill. And our special guest today was CW5 Babers from Sumter, South Carolina.